That's right, they privatized Social Security in Chile. Chile's Social Security system is older than ours, so their problems are older and bigger than ours too. In fact, at their worst, the Chilean Social Security system had a deficit that was 25% of Chile's GDP. So to fix this, in May 1st of 1981, which is the Chilean Labor Day, Chile created a private option to Social Security, and the system was called AFPs, which are like mutual funds. Today, 95% of Chilean workers are in this new system. So to transition from the old system to the new system, first of all, the government had to do something about the people who were already in the old system and wanted to switch. Not everyone had to switch, it was your choice. But if you wanted to switch, the government gave you what they called recognition bonds. Basically, they just issued something like savings bonds to you, and these bonds got a 4% real rate of return. What that means is, after inflation, you got a 4% return. So if inflation was about 3%, the bonds yielded 7% to make up for the inflation. So the people knew that they were going to have a real return on these bonds, even if inflation got crazy. One of the requirements of being in the system is that workers had to pay a minimum of 10% of their income into the AFPs. And employers, they didn't have to pay their share of the Social Security tax anymore, so they had to give their employees a temporary 18% raise. Only the ones who switched got the raise. And then eventually market forces were allowed to control wages. People who contributed to the system were allowed to put in up to 20% of their income and have it be tax deductible. And under this system, the definition of retirement isn't quite what you think it might be. The definition is financial only. What that means is the account retires, but it has nothing to do with whether or not you actually quit working. So say you reach the retirement age, you decide to retire your AFP account, you can start drawing a retirement, but you can keep working. Or you could quit working before you retire your AFP account, and you could have just no income at all. The retirement age for men was 65, for women it was 60. Or you could retire when you had enough money saved in your AFP so that your income from it was 50% of the average income that you had for the last 10 years. This provided way more flexibility than the old system and the system that we have in the United States. You get to decide when you retire based on your savings rate and your goals. Now, to cover death and disability, people had to contribute an additional 2.9% of their income into private insurance, and the AFP took care of that for them. Now, the impact of the new system. After just 15 years, retirements in Chile grew by 50 to 100%. Today, the AFP savings are $100 billion, which is 60% of Chile's GDP. Remember before, I said they were running a 25% deficit, and today they have savings of 60%, and their GDP is bigger. This has caused substantial growth in the Chilean economy, and they have smaller government. Now, to finance the transition from the old system to the new system was kind of complicated because they had some people who were retired but had no savings, and they were just drawing off of the old pay-as-you-go system. And they had some people who were working and no longer were paying into that old system. So here's how they did it. First of all, in Chile they had state-owned enterprises. Chile decided to sell those off, but they waited until after the system was established. And this allowed people to purchase the state-owned enterprises through their AFP accounts. So the people got to own the enterprises, and that was good. That created a great return for them. The second way was there's a difference between the old payroll tax and the new savings rate, so they were able to capture some of that. The government also went into debt. They sold bonds mostly to the AFPs. And all this additional burden on the government to pay for two systems at the same time made it easier for those in government to reduce wasteful government spending. And because, like I said before, the economy grew in Chile, and this increased the tax revenues that the government was able to get from the new economy. After just 15 years, the government was in the black. They no longer had a deficit at all.